I guess I'll just throw a topic out there right now that we can talk about very quickly, and that is Fast and Furious, or the Fate of the Furious, number 8, the 8th installment. Adam didn't see the movie yet. I know Panic did. I saw the movie. I'm sure a lot of people here saw the movie as well.
Yeah, I think I wrote. I think I wrote this in originally on the list to talk.
You did. And for those that don't know, it did open. It did have the biggest opening weekend of all time in cinematic history. Beat out Star Wars. Money. Yeah, it beat out Star Wars. Obviously, there's like inflation things from like movies like, you know, Titanic or Avatar and things like that. Movie tickets are becoming more and more expensive, but generally speaking, it broke all records. Obviously, the movie did crazy well over in China. It always does well overseas. All movies, usually most movies, make more money overseas, and that's why a lot of movies these days have set pieces in China and different places like that to really cater to those markets. Or you'll see one random Chinese actor, and you're like, why the fuck is that Chinese actor there? And it's because they cater to those markets that make them the most money. That's all it takes. But I guess my question is, and I think Adam might be able to chime into some of this, is, and people in the comment section as well, this is a good one for people to interact in the comment section. What do you think is the best Fast and Furious out of all of 8 of them, if you've seen them all? And also, do you agree with the direction that the franchise has taken? Because it's no longer a race movie, although they do nods to the old school Fast and Furious. Obviously, we had 1 and 2, which were great. Number 3, Tokyo Drift, which is kind of like a cult thing. Some people really love. It mind boggles me that when people say Tokyo Drift's their favorite, and if one of your guys' is, I'd love to hear why. And then some people say the franchise got worse after Tokyo Drift, and then there are people like me that actually enjoy the franchise more now than I ever did, in different ways. But generally speaking, it is, in my opinion, a better franchise now, and I'll get into why. But my question is, what's your favorite Fast movie, and do you like the direction that they've gone? I'll start with Panic.
Honestly, I'm disappointed that they drifted away from like the original movies, but at the same time, I also don't care because they're good movies either way. Again, I'm not expecting some amazing, thing. I'm expecting a good popcorn movie with good action, really nice cars, and all of it. Despite them kind of moving away from the roots and kind of changing the focus of the movies, it still has everything I was expecting there to be from the first movies. Instead of races, you have chases, and various other small changes here and there. And they know why they're making the movies, and they've always been cognizant of who their audience is, and that awareness is great. So for me, I wasn't expecting anything, super revolutionary, and every single Fast movie I've gone to, I've had a good time, and that's what I'm going to the movies for. So, favorite one I'm going to say is probably Fast 7, though, out of all of them. Obviously there was the Paul Walker nostalgia factor and all of that, but just overall, I really enjoyed that movie. I do watch it still periodically out of all the Fast movies, just for even the send-off at the end. Yeah. Just really great filmmaking for that last segment.
Yep. Amazing director for that movie, too.
Oh, yeah.
Just really, really good. What about you, Adam?
I like the first one the most out of all of them. I like you said to Tokyo Drift. I like Tokyo Drift a lot, but not.
I did too.
Because I like it because, one, I like Han as a character. He's my favorite character in the entire series.
I think we'll see him again.
Yeah, so Han's my favorite character. So that plays into it. But it was super flashy, and it was like I'm not even a tuner guy. I don't really like tuner cars all that much, to be completely honest with you. But it was just done well. There's something about Tokyo. I don't even know what the fuck it is. I'm sitting here trying to think of like what it was I liked about Tokyo Drift. I don't know, but I did like it a lot. I just think that it was, that it was relatively well done. The acting was, by a couple of characters, really bad, but it was still fun, a very fun movie, and it still had cars.
It was about family.
The family thing is whatever. The family thing was a spin for them to be able to move away from cars.
But they were running out of race stories they could do.
But that's part of it. So I really liked the first one because it had the family thing. It had cars. It was still about the cars, car culture. It touched on a little bit of the tuner thing, but it also had the muscle thing. So I'm a bit of a car guy, so it really hit on a lot of points for me. I thought that the story was probably the best in the first one out of all of the movies in the franchise. And of course, it's the first one, so you always have some throwback. Well, for me, the first movie, I'm okay with saying that I liked the story. I didn't, none of these movies are Oscar-worthy fucking, shit. But the first one was one of the only movies that actually had a storyline.
In the first movie and stuff. There's more to do.
I just thought it was,
they're introducing everybody. Yeah.
It was good. I just really liked it. Yeah. I liked 7 for the fact that the Paul's thing was in there. It was the most impactful thing that the series ever had. But then again, how could it not be impactful? Paul Walker fucking died, and they did a send-off of the century for him, so of course it was going to be impactful. As for how I feel about the direction of the series, I don't like it, but I still go watch them because they're fun to watch. I understand why they aren't about the cars anymore. There's only so many stories that you can do that it would involve racing over and over and over again, as much as I would like to see that. So now it's about family and about blowing up everything in as many ways as possible and about taking a 70s Charger and strapping it with military plating and then sending it off to the fucking Arctic Circle to do battle with a goddamn submarine. So, that's fun to watch, but it's so dumb. But that's what makes it good anyway, I guess, in current form. But I just wish that they could have found a way to make it more about, to still have the car junkie stuff in there somehow. I just wish that was possible. I don't think it is, but I wish it was possible.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
And Panic, I was going to mention that too. So I know a lot of people in chat, when I said I think Han will come back, of course he died in the movie, but it's Fast and Furious. I mean, other people have died and have come back. And also it's Fast and Furious, and it is rumored that we will see Han again. I don't want to say too much because I don't really want to spoil anything for number 8, although I feel as though
outside of 8, they've been wanting to expand on the Tokyo Drift line.
Exactly.
Like they've been wanting to keep it going, so that's the other angle.
Let's put it this way, guys. There's a good probability, and also since Jason Statham's character is working with the team, who ultimately was the one responsible for Han's death, I think we're gonna see Han, and of course they're making 10 of these movies. Number 9 is already announced. There was a big drama between The Rock and Vin Diesel. They were not on screen together at all in number 8. They had no screen time together. There was one scene in particular where they had interaction, but they weren't actually on screen together. And there's
separate cuts.
Yep. And there's a reason for it. They did not like each other. Both of them are alphas. And apparently they were fighting with each other over screen time on the way that their characters were portrayed. One wanted to look tougher than the other, and it was just like a big head. But beyond that, my thing here is I actually think Tokyo Drift is the worst one out of all of them. And the reason is...
It's worse than 2?
Yes. It's worse than all of them.
Bad.
It's worse than all of them. You've got, in Tokyo Drift, you've got like the main character that talks with this weird hick accent that is just overly thick. You've got little Bow Wow. It was a glorified music video. It was the worst rated. It did the worst in box office out of all of them by almost double. It did.
Also during sequel phase.
It did $84 million worldwide. Oh, that's it for adjusted inflation. Okay, it did on opening weekend. It did $62 million, and the Fate of the Furious opened up at 124 million. Or no, that's not open. That's gross. Okay, so Yeah, it's number 8 in the list. 158 million in total. The next one up is 207 million, and it goes all the way up to Fast 7, which is 1.5 billion. Obviously, that was because Paul Walker's death. People wanted to see, you know, the conclusion, and then also how well they did with that. Obviously, people resaw the movie in theater. I was even tempted to go see it a second time because it was
apparently they just came out at IMAX too recently. Like they did a delayed IMAX launch.
So it is number 8 in terms of revenue. It's number 8 in terms of rating. It didn't have all of the gang. Obviously, Han was a great character and he was the saving grace of the movie. It's watchable, but it isn't on that level. My favorite out of all of them is Fast 4, which is Fast. I think it was just called Fast and Furious, and that was the
5,
one,
wasn't it?
Might have been 5. What was
it? Was like the Fast and the Furious, or it was Fast and Furious?
No, I think Fast 5 was actually called Fast 5. Let me get a list here. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it was called Fast 5. So number 4. Yeah, number 4 is Fast and Furious. I'm pretty Fast and Furious. That was my favorite one, mainly because they introduced The Rock, and I feel as though, and I know so, the entire franchise shifted when The Rock was on board with these movies. Was it Fast 4 or Fast 5 that The Rock came in?
It had to, because it's The Rock.
It might have been Fast 5 where The Rock came in. There's so many of them, right? It was Fast 4 or Fast 5.
I don't fucking know.
Fast 5?
It's all one
there
big
it is.
movie
Okay,
now.
Fast 5. All right, Fast 5. I just looked. Yeah, I just looked it up. It's Fast 5, so I stand corrected. Fast 5 is my favorite because The Rock was introduced, and he just I'm going to say it. He electrified the franchise. I had to say.
He electrified the
it.
millions and millions.
He definitely
They smelled what he was cooking.
Oh, and it was great. It was the new big alpha. It was somebody that the fight between him and Vin Diesel at the end was great. It was
He brought an oomph back to the series.
He really did, because it was kind of fallen flat. It was like it was still serving its purpose, but it had no real direction. And then when The Rock came in, it really spiced the whole franchise up, and that's when it went from it being really street racing to a heist movie, into an action-packed movie. And I'm totally okay with this. I actually prefer Fast and Furious from 4 up, but I'll say 5 up because of The Rock. I like the direction because, like what Adam said earlier, there's only so much you can do with street racing. I mean, we've seen it. And people will cry and say, well, I remember when Fast and Furious was all about the cars, and it was all, yes, and it still is to an extent. I mean, there's beautiful cars in there. They always have a couple of scenes where you've got Ludacris's nerdy character and the girl character. They're doing their nerdy spec things and like, oh yeah, with 503 horsepower and 700 pounds of torque and, you know, the fucking V8 twin turbo or Charged engine, and they go through all the things and you're like, yeah, and they you know, they're doing these nice sexy panoramic views. You know, that's great. They do those nods to that. And then also in Fast 8, obviously they opened up the movie with the big race scene, which was great. And it was different than what we've seen in other racing fast races. They did something a little bit different there without, you know, spoiling exactly what it was. But I love the fact that they are trying to one-up themselves. They were this serious racing, you know, pink slips, you know, it's give me your pink slips, motherfucker. Like, this is your life, bro. They always got these Latinos that are like, you know, they're drop downs and they're bouncing. And you got the hot girls with their booty shorts on and shit like that. That was cool. And that was cool 15 years ago when I was a 15-year-old and I drove a 1991 Honda Civic hatchback with a fucking, you know, tinted windows and a pipe and a fucking, you know, I thought I was Fast and Furious. You know, that was cool. But now, you know, the audience has matured quite a bit. Obviously, the cars have gotten much nicer, and the technology now in terms of cars, you don't really need to soup up cars anymore. I mean, cars that you buy stock now are pretty fucking crazy. The cars that they have in the movies, they just weren't the cars that they had back 15 years ago. Sure, you had some really amazing cars, but come on. I mean, now they don't need to, you don't need to do MTV's Pimp My Ride for every car and show off the fucking ground lights and, you know, the fish bowls that you have in the back of your seats. You don't need that. So I like the fact that they've done that, and obviously the audience likes it too because the franchise has gone up. It's now $1 billion a movie franchise. They're making billions of dollars off this.
They're going to keep printing the money.
They're literally printing money, and it's done. They're on number 8 here, and we're not sick of it. You know, and how many franchises can you say that? You know, you look at something like Saw, and you're sick of Saw movies. You know, you've seen it. They didn't up the scale. They didn't change the story. They didn't go in a different direction.
I just want to see how they can jump the shark for number 9. That's what I want to see. How far they can jump the shark.
They'll do it.
Will they literally jump a shark?
They probably will. and you see something like Transformers. You're tired of Transformers. You're just tired of it. You know, you're done. You're done. You're like, I don't want to do this. But I'm gonna go and do this.
When you had a full cast switch over in a movie, it's time to call it quits.
We love Fast and Furious because of the characters, the interaction between the characters, and although I felt like in 8 it wasn't as good, and maybe that is because Paul Walker wasn't there. There was something missing, but I still think they did a very good job at entertaining me. They upped the scale. They did some crazy shit. And I'm all for these Fast and Furious franchises. I think they should end at 10 where they're planning on it. And then what Panic said at the end, do spin-off movies where they can get back to the ground roots, focus on 1 or 2 characters and their stories, or even prequels. We were supposed to get a Hobbs prequel, like The Rock, how all his story began. Or, you know, have them have children. You know, oh, never mind. I almost spoiled something there. Have them have children and show them in spin-off movies and get back to the racing. You know, watch them grow as a race driver, as a pink slip collector. You can get back to the roots. But now I think if they went back to the racing, they're going to go. It's like they're taking 20 steps backwards because you only can do so much, and they've been upping the scale each time. That I think if they made a more grounded film that was about the street races, it would have to be done in a standalone movie, and they can continue to just keep doing small nods to the franchise in terms of the races and give us that, but also up the scale in terms of action and character.
I think Fast and the Furious has 2 movies left in it without doing spin-offs, and it's fucked. I think some franchises. Some franchises have a slow roll-off where it takes a few movies before people start to, for it to happen. I think because the Fast and the Furious movies have been doing the whole up the on-screen batshit crazy on movie on movie on movie on movie. Pretty soon this is going to be like Call of Duty where suddenly we have to go to space to get any crazier. Like now we're going to be doing fucking like Tokyo Drift around the rings of Saturn. Like, I think for this franchise, without spin-offs, to put a bigger distance between the release dates of the mainline stuff where we're getting the crazy, I think that it's going to be like one of those things where you wake up in the morning one day and go, you know what? I'm done with Fast and Furious. It's going to be a suddenly light switch. It's not going to be. You look in the mirror and it's just done. Yeah, it's not going to be a movie comes out and it's, it didn't quite hit $1 billion, and then the next one, and it didn't quite hit 750. I think it's literally going to be a switch happens and the masses are going to go, nah. I think this is good now. I think we've had it. And just because that's the route they've taken where it's just one-upping themselves with the crazy over and over and over again. Now, if they do spin-offs, I think that, and space them out, the mainline stuff out, I think that gives them a little bit more leeway. I think it allows people to have a breather and go, oh, okay, yeah, show me Hobbs, and how he got to where he was, or, show me Han before all this stuff happened, or whatever you wanted to do with that. Show me these backstories, and like you said, get back to the roots, because when you go back to the roots, the paces of these movies go way down. we go from doing 300 mile an hour back to a solid 60, and most people are probably not going to be too upset about that. Are they going to be? Yeah, exactly. I need a Toyota Corolla for a bit. I don't. Obviously, those spin-offs are unlikely to do the $1 billion fucking mark the other ones are, but they'll be able to reduce the budget on them a bit and still make good money off of those spin-offs. And still allow them to maybe stretch.
They're not going to kill it. They're not killing Golden Goose.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to stretch this further.
Well, Fast 9 comes out in 2019, and Fast 10 comes out in 2021. So by the time 2021 comes out, we'll see what happens. But I'm going to guarantee you right now, when the movies are still making $1 billion a movie, they will make more.
Oh no,
Fast
I'm not saying they're going to stop, but I'm saying it's going to be a steep drop.
I don't think so, and I think, and the reason is normally I would say yes if this was, I don't know, fucking what other franchise can I think of? You know, maybe The Matrix or something like that, where there's this story, and you know how far can you push this story or whatever the case may be. When it comes to mindless action and mindless fun at the theater, there is a massive core amount of people that will go to the movie theater regardless if the movie is upping or it is staying the same or it's gone downhill. Sure, box office may get affected a little bit, but something this big, it is going to last as long as they want it to last. And I think the only way that this does those drops is if Vin Diesel is never going anywhere. This is his baby. I mean, he produces it. This is what
Vin
keeps
Diesel's
him an A-list
racing
actor.
Fucking real wheelchairs and
he'll
rascals
be a grandfather.
around.
He'll be a grandfather in the fucking driving seat.
Yeah.
I think the only time that this franchise falls off in any kind of drastic way, when I say falls off, I mean going from a $2 billion movie, $1.5 billion movie to like $700 million, is if, say, The Rock is like, I'm done. I'm done with this, or you know, 2 or 3 of them are like, I'm not getting paid enough, I'm done, I'm out, or I'm tired of this. That is when I can see it really tanking if they decided to keep going forward with it. I think at that point it would be a good opportunity for them to do the spin-off movies and still make a shit ton of money off the Fast name. But I really feel like if when 9 and 10 drop, which I guarantee they'll be $1 billion movies, guaranteed. If they continue to be at the $1 billion club, because that's the thing in Hollywood, $1 billion club, that's, you know, that's the mighty. If you're not a $1 billion movie, you're not a mega successful movie, because it's so easy now to get $1 billion. I feel like they're gonna continue the franchise. They're gonna continue the franchise. They'll maybe get a new set of directors, maybe a new set of writers. They'll do a little spin on it, maybe add new characters. But you see movies like The Expendables. I guess that's a really good one to compare it to. You got The Expendables. You got The Expendables 2. You've got these Expendable movies which have been kind of going downhill because certain characters aren't showing up. They're not upping the stakes. It's sort of the same shit all the time. And you don't really have that attachment like you did many years ago. It's kind of like that thing that we said with Nintendo, where Nintendo can come out with a Zelda or Mario game. People are going to go fucking buy it. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what. It's kind of the same loyalty with this Fast and the Furious franchise, or even a Harry Potter. You know, when they do these spin-offs, or if Harry Potter said we're going to make another trilogy, I mean, the shit is people are going to go out there and they're just going to support things that they've been supporting for
gangbusters.
Years. Yeah. So I'm with you, though, to an extent, Adam. I believe that they will eventually see a hit, but I still think that it's going to be so successful that there's no way that they can say no to the money. It would be amazing if they did 10 and ended it. And they said, you know what? We have been we did 10 movies. What kind of franchise can you think of that has done this? Like,
they're going to ride it.
The money's going up. I mean, the money, they just broke the fucking opening box office record of all time. The money is like fucking shooting. That's after Paul Walker's death. It's crazy. So if
the
they have
sad thing
the balls,
is, though, they're never just going to stop. They're just going to ride it down to that $100 million movie again.
I'll be mind fucked. I say, Hollywood, you've outdone yourself. Congratulations. You've just done something that nobody else has done. You've created a great franchise. You've made a boatload of money, and now you're going to make $500 million off spin-offs.
They're going to wait. They're going to wait the 20 years and then reboot it.
And reboot the whole fucking thing, 100%. They might even wait 10 years. Fuck 20. They don't wait that long these days.
20 years is too long these days.
2030,
now you gotta be like
2030, it'll be back.
You wait 5 years, like, well, shit, time to bring it back. It's been too long.
So yeah, that's my take on the Fast franchise. I'm still enjoying it. Yeah, it did feel a little weird with Paul there, but it was still as enjoyable, to be honest. And that's nothing against Paul Walker. I mean, he was never a great actor. He wasn't a good actor. Like but it was.
But he's such a likable dude.
With it. He is. He's
a likable dude.
But let's be real. The Rock has much more charisma, and he's more charismatic, and he comes off as more of a likable dude on screen. But it's and this isn't like me trashing on Paul Walker. I'm saying that the franchise obviously wasn't as affected by him not being there, and that speaks volumes to how connected people are to the franchise to have basically the star or one of two stars. It was Vin and Paul. To have him not there anymore and it's still succeeding the way it is. Yeah, we all wish he was still in the films and he was great to watch on screen. But it just goes to show that even if they lose one guy, Jason Statham no longer wants to do it, I still think they're fine. And especially if they bring in Han. Here we go again.
Jason. I'm gonna be honest with you. Jason Statham could drop out of that movie. It wouldn't change.
Well,
dick.
when you see number 8, he has the best scene in the movie, and when you see number 8, I'm
a little biased though
because
I don't like Jason Statham in general, but that's whatever.